Welcome to JazzTime.com. JazzTime.com is an online store that buys, sells, and trades authentic luxury watches. We make these videos so you can easily choose the best watch for yourself in the comfort of your own home. We offer the lowest prices anywhere online, and if you'd like to know the price, simply click the links in the description below. We greatly appreciate if you buy your next watch from us at JazzTime.com. Today, we'll be talking about the Rolex Cellini Date in 18-karat white gold and a bright blue guilloche dial with a double bezel on a black alligator leather strap, model number 50519. This is certainly an interesting timepiece. Its namesake was inspired by the Italian Renaissance artist Benvenuto Cellini, who is known for pieces such as the Cellini Salt Cellar and Perseus with the head of Medusa. And Rolex started a line of dress watches named after him as early as 1928, soon discontinued thereafter, and started back up in the 80s. Quite an interesting timepiece with quite a storied history. I'm not going to go over all the finer points of this because a lot has changed with this timepiece. So, there are only several different models in the modern day, starting with the Cellini Time, which only shows the time, much like, say, an Oyster Perpetual only shows time with an hour, minute, and second hand. The next step up would be this one, the Cellini Date, which also shows a date dial at the 3 o'clock position. The Dual Time as well has a second time dial at the 6 o'clock position instead of date at the 3 o'clock position. If you want to keep track of time in a second time zone, that would be the model for you. A Cellini Moon Phase also shows the phases of the moon, also in its own dial at the 6 o'clock position. All right, and in typical Rolex fashion, there are a number of different dial colors and configurations to give you really a myriad of different options based on personal preference. But the things that remain the same are effectively the case size, the double bezels, water resistance, the fact that they're all made with precious metals and come with alligator leather straps. All right. Now, if you're not really familiar with Rolex, this will probably look like just any other watch. But if you've been, paying attention to Rolex for even just a few months, you'll notice that the Cellini shares actually very little with all the other watches in their lineup. With that said, we'll take a look at this specific model and try to make sense of where it fits within Rolex's collection. Right? So the case size for this watch is 35 millimeters in diameter. Hard to believe, but that's what it really is, from finger to thumb. It is only 11 millimeters thick with a 45 millimeter measurement from lug to lug. It is made with 18 karat white gold throughout from lug to lug, the entire case, the backing, the bezels, as well as the index markers. And all of it with a high polish finish. There's not a single part on this that has any satin or brushing to it, giving that really, really nice, beautiful luster and look to it. All right. And the bezels on this case are actually quite interesting. Now, notice that I said bezels, not a single bezel. That's because there is, Rolex typically uses just one bezel per watch type. But this one contains a fluted bezel on the outside with very small grooves that more closely match that of, say, like a freshly minted quarter given its size and proportions, and an inner domed bezel right above that, which meets the sapphire crystal. Also note that this sapphire crystal, if you've been paying attention to how it plays in the light, is actually domed. A little bit hard to see in this light box, but it just doesn't reflect light in the same way that other flat Rolex sapphire crystals do. And I think this is actually quite an advantage for this model because it really gives you different lighting patterns based on your angle. Now, see, this light at the top is actually just a straight strip of LEDs, but as I move it up and down, you can actually see different bowing mechanics of that light because of that domed bezel, and that's quite a really interesting and very nice lighting dynamic there. All right. So now, also note that the case back is also actually domed. If you can see my reflection in the back, It has that very convex shape, much like when you're driving through a parking garage almost. Very interesting case back, with also the very, very small fluting for the teeth for the tightening of that case to ensure that water resistance. The water resistance on this model is actually only 50 meters under water. So honestly, it's not for sport. It's not really for, swimming all that much. Occasionally, you can be in the rain, you can wash your hands with it. Definitely wash your hands for at least 30 seconds every time. But honestly, it's not for sport. This is a dress watch, and looking at it, that really shows. All right, the crown also has this really interesting flared look to it. Unlike typical Rolex crowns that are they just come out and they're barrel shaped, this one actually flares outward a bit. See if I can zoom in there, and you can really see that. You can see the outward flare that goes up and then very nicely comes to the top with that Rolex crown logo. Very interesting design choice there. All right, so now the dial on this model is the bright blue guilloche, which basically means that there are repetitive patterns at an intersecting point, in this case at the center of the dial. The hour marks are exceptionally long compared to other Rolex models and are actually bisected right in the middle by this minute track that is conveniently placed closer to the tips of the hands. If you notice, the minute hand just very lightly goes over the minute marks there. All right, all these applications, as I've said earlier, are also in 18 karat gold, so no skimping in any part here. The date dial at the 3 o'clock position also follows the same guilloche pattern within it, with numbered days going up to 31 in a clockwise manner. And while we're here, we can actually see how the date and time work. All right, now notice that this watch has actually come to a full and complete stop. All right, so we can demonstrate this. We can go over this. We'll learn about it together. Simply unwind the crown to the first position. This allows you to wind the watch, as you can hear. All right, and typically, winding, you only really need to wind it maybe like 30 times or so to get it to start moving. As you can see, the second hand has begun moving properly. All right, move it to the second position. And what does that seem to do? Ah yes, it moves the minute hand. Also has stop the seconds for precise timekeeping. Actually, that was the final position. First position, winds the watch. Second position, it moves the hour hand, and therefore you can move the date at the same time by using this mechanic. So, if you'll notice, let me zoom in there, you can see the date changing based on where the hour hand is located. Once I pass midnight, the date will move forward. But if I move it backward to about 10 o'clock or so, it will actually move backward, meaning that this is in the evening. All right, and the final position, that's where the seconds stop and the minute hand can then be adjusted for precise timekeeping. All right, push the crown and wind it tightly against the case for that superior water resistance. All right, and onto the movement actually for this watch, which is quite interesting. It follows the general formula for typical Rolex movements. Specifically, this one is the 3165 caliber made in-house by Rolex. It's perpetual, mechanical, and self-winding with a diameter of 28.5 millimeters with a plus or minus 2 second per day time differential, as you would expect from Rolex. And as shown earlier, there's that center hour, minute, and second hand function on board with the instantaneous date and rapid setting, as I've shown you, as well as stop seconds for precise time setting in that final position. The oscillator is the paramagnetic parachrome blue hairspring combined with the Paraflex shock absorbers. This watch is resistant to sudden bumps as well as electromagnetic interference. Altogether, this movement holds a power reserve of approximately 48 hours. And with a dress watch this stylish, I can't imagine putting it down for more than a single day. Now, the strap on these Cellini models is actually made of alligator leather, and this particular model comes with a black leather strap with an 18 karat gold buckle to match the aesthetic of the case. All right. Again, not a single detail is skipped, as you would expect from Rolex. So who exactly is this watch for, and where does it fit within Rolex's catalog? I don't really know. Perhaps if you're interested in other watchmakers like, say, Patek Philippe or Jaeger-LeCoultre, this could be a very good bridge between Rolex and those other brands. But, as this dial, despite being housed in a case that's actually slightly above the median size at 39 millimeters, actually looks a lot larger than it really is. So you get actually much more dial on this watch than on any other Rolex watch. And if we're really trying to push the boundaries, maybe the Sky Dweller would be a close contender in terms of the dial to case proportions. But even that's already quite a stretch. Definitely if you're in need of shaking up your wardrobe, or you need something different from, say, a Submariner, Datejust, Yachtmaster, you name it, the Cellini could give you that little edge, since it's quite an interesting and very niche appearance, and it still has that backing of quality and reliability that Rolex can really provide. So I don't know, to me this strap, actually didn't show you the underside. It has that very tanned feel, and it actually feels very soft to the touch. And so wearing this on my wrist, it actually feels very nice, very, very clean, almost like as if I'm wearing a President bracelet. Very soft and supple to the touch. And honestly, this, while it does seem big, it doesn't actually feel as big as it really is. And as for its usability, it's quite useful, especially with that date reminder there. So if I ever take some time off, I can come back and I know exactly what day it is. So very useful there. And honestly, that the mesmerizing patterns in the light really make this shine within the Rolex catalog. All right, so I don't know, enough of my thoughts. What do you think? Let us know what you think down in the comments below. Where does this fit within Rolex's catalog? I'm actually at a loss for words, because honestly, this does not look like any other Rolex I've ever seen or held. And it has that really nice, luxurious look and feel to it that I'm not really getting as much of from the other models. So leave a comment down below, let us know what you think. Leave a like if you learned something, as it really helps our channel out. Be sure to share this video with anybody looking for the next watch, especially if they're looking for a luxury style watch that just radiates so beautifully in the light. And don't forget to subscribe. Click that bell notification so you can be notified when we go live with another video. And don't forget, if you want this or any other watch, be sure to visit us and put in your order at jazztime.com.
If you want to find out more about the watch you just saw in the video, you can just click below on Show More to see the full description. Then you can check the link next to Model as seen in video, click on it, and you will get to the proper page where you can see all the details. If you're watching on a mobile phone, you have to click on the arrow down on the right hand side below the video to see the full description. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. If you would like to share this video with your friends, you can use the share button below and share it on any platform you like. If you have questions, constructive feedback, want to tell us about some mistakes or misspeaks, just write a comment below. If you want to see more videos like this, you should subscribe to our channel and visit our channel page where you can find all the videos. And if you're interested in a specific watch brand, you can check out our playlists. If you want to check the price for a watch or want to buy one, remember at jazztime.com you always get a steep discount, so you should check the prices with us. If you want to know the price for a specific watch, just go to Google, type in JazzTime, plus the brand, model, and the details you're interested in, and Google will find the right page for you. Thank you for watching.